Alexander Hamilton, from orphan to founding father. All hands on deck, a ship's crew rushed to put out a fire. Days later, the burned ship docked at Boston Harbor. Young Alexander Hamilton had been at sea for 3 weeks. He was restless and ready to start a new life. It was 1773. Alexander Hamilton was born in 1755 on Nevis, an island in the Caribbean. His father left when Alex was a boy. 3 years later, while living on St. Croix, Alex's mother died. Alex was now an orphan, with nothing. Alex got work as a clerk in a company that traded with New England in America. He learned about money and business. When the boss placed him in charge for 6 months, Alex ran the company as though it were his own. He was only 14 years old. In 1772, a hurricane hit the islands. Roaring winds tore up trees and blew away houses. Alex wrote about the storm, and his account was published in the local newspaper. Some rich businessmen liked the way Alex wrote. They decided to send him to college in America. When Alex arrived in America, there were 13 colonies. England ruled America and taxed everything: books, sugar, coffee, paint. The colonists wanted the right to make their own taxes and to have a say in how their money was spent. Alex was at King's College in New York the night rebel colonists took action in Boston. The King of England was mad. He closed Boston Harbor to punish the colonists. King George sent in soldiers. Redcoats crowded the streets. Alex became a patriot. He gave speeches about the need to end British rule. As a boy, Alex had read about wars that brought change. War might be the only way for America to break free of England. On April 19, 1775, British soldiers marched into Lexington, Massachusetts. The Patriots stood their ground. No one knows who fired the first shot, but the American Revolution had begun. After college, Alex joined the Army. Captain Alexander Hamilton loved to drill his troops. Right, flank, march. On Bayard's Mount, the highest point in lower Manhattan, Alex and his men got ready for battle. The Founding Fathers had written the Declaration of Independence. It stated that the colonies no longer belonged to England. On July 9, 1776, General Washington read it aloud to soldiers in New York. Captain Hamilton was proud. 13 gunshots rang out, one for each state. In New York Harbor, British battleships waited. The British ships began firing. Boom! Captain Hamilton ordered his soldiers to fire back. Boom! Hour after hour, cannons exploded. Smoke and noise choked the air. Captain Hamilton knew the British Navy was powerful. They had more guns and men than the Patriot Army. The British captured Brooklyn. General George Washington ordered people to leave the city. Washington had seen Captain Hamilton in action. He asked him to be his personal secretary. Hamilton had to think about it. He wanted to be in battle, but he could not refuse the great General Washington. Hamilton wrote letters to Congress to ask for more supplies for the army. He was a fine writer. He would do this job for years, but Hamilton never quit asking to fight again. He got his chance in 1781. The British were dug in at Yorktown, Virginia. They had built 10 barriers to protect their position. Numbers 9 and 10 were near American lines. They were the weakest. Hamilton was ordered to attack number 10. Hamilton led the charge. "Let's get 'em, boys," he shouted. He raced across open ground. He leaped over the barricades. He fought hard and with courage. The British were beaten. The Battle of Yorktown ended the war. Hamilton was a hero. It was 1782. Hamilton left the army and lived in Lower Manhattan. He was now a husband, a lawyer, and a father. But he still worried about his country. The states were in trouble. They didn't work together. They had no money. Hamilton thought about some of the books he had read. The early Greeks and Romans wrote about how to build a city, run a government, and take care of the citizens. Hamilton knew the states had to form a union, or they would not survive. The states needed a set of laws. These laws would become the Constitution. Hamilton attended months of meetings in Philadelphia to work on the document. At least 9 states had to accept it to make it the law. Hamilton wanted voters in New York State to understand the Constitution. He and 2 other men wrote many essays that were published in newspapers. Hamilton wrote most of what came to be called the Federalist Papers. Voters now understood and accepted the Constitution. The states were one nation. People in New York celebrated with a parade. A ship on wheels called the Hamilton was pulled down Broadway. Alexander Hamilton, an immigrant, had helped steer his adopted home into forming a union. Now it was time to build the new nation. The United States of America needed a leader. The people chose General Washington to be the first president. President Washington chose Alexander Hamilton to be the Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton was smart with money. He helped set up the first national bank with one national currency, or money system. Alexander Hamilton always had very strong opinions. He wrote articles about some of the men who ran the government, calling them awful names. One of the men, Aaron Burr, challenged Hamilton to a gunfight called a duel. At dawn on July 11, 1804, in Weehawken, New Jersey, the pair stood face to face. Hamilton shot to miss. Burr shot to kill. Hamilton died the next day. Alexander Hamilton's life is a real rags to riches story. He came to America with nothing, but quickly found himself in the middle of making a new country. Hamilton's story is one of daring, hard work, and ideas. It still inspires us today.